Welcome back to MTR Network. This is Kriss, and I got Phenom here, and we're here to review. Well, Phenom's here to review. Going in style. This is desperate to pay the bills and come through for their loved ones. Three lifelong pals risk it all to embarking on a daring bid to knock off the very bank that absconded with their money. Directed by Zach Braff, and it stars Joey King, Morgan Freeman. Who else is in here? Michael Caine, Christopher Lloyd, Matt
Alan Arkin.
Dillon. You said what?
Alan Arkin.
Yeah, and Margaret. All right. Kenan Thompson is in this film. I'm going through the list now. So,
Who is Matt Dillon?
yeah.
Um, yeah. Josh. Is it Josh Pays? I'm trying to figure out who is the guy. Oh, John Ortiz. Okay. Jesus. Jesus is played by John Ortiz. All right. So essentially, what you saw in the trailer is exactly what this movie is. That it's nothing more. It is a film about three old geezers who worked for the same plant for 40 years and are living off their pensions. And the plant, being the shit that capitalism built, decides to move overseas. And because of that, it breaks their pension contracts. So they don't have to continue paying these people's pensions. And to make matters worse, the bank that they were getting their pensions from is actually like dissolving the funds and putting them into some other business. So they're actually taking these people's pensions and dispersing them into other businesses for this business. So it's like a double fucking whammy. It's just the company you work for 40 years is cheating on you, use together with the bank that you've been banking with for 40 years. And these Michael Caine is the first one. He's in like the most trouble. They're trying to take his house, and the film opens up with him going to the bank to try to figure out why he hasn't received a pension check in a minute and maybe figure out what's going on with this foreclosure letter he got. And while he's there, the bank gets robbed by these three perfect robbers who he describes that they kind of did it like a dance. They came in and they had their masks ready and they took over the bank and they robbed it in a smooth like minute and 40 seconds or some shit like that. And while this robbery is going on, Michael Caine actually interacts with the head guy robbing the bank. And there's a hilarious scene there because the guy that the bank person he was dealing with was a complete dick. And there ends up being a funny interaction where Michael Caine and this robber connect. And that, of course, is not a good look for the bank guy who is acting like a pussycat on the ground beside him during the robbery. It's pretty fucking funny as far as like a bank heist goes. And Michael Caine, after getting the news about the plant, is pretty fucking wound up and pissed. And he goes to Morgan Freeman and he goes to Alan Arkin. He's like, "Hey, we should rob a bank." And at first, they're like, "You should take your pills." And then Morgan Freeman is like, "You know what? Fuck it, we should." And then Alan Arkin, who is actually supposed to be like the one who doesn't follow rules and stuff of the group, he kind of just does whatever the fuck he wants to. He's kind of like this hippie dude who plays jazz music and shit. He is the most reluctant. He's like, "I don't want to die in jail." And they're like, "Dude, come on." So they end up deciding to do it. They all have their own personal reasons for why they get into it. Michael Caine's clearly is they're going to take his house, but Morgan Freeman and Alan Arkin have their own reasons, and that gets you experience that when you're watching the movie, and everybody else, man, is just kind of it really is just a film about watching the ridiculousness of three old men try to prepare over a month to rob a bank. Like, and they connect with a guy who they know a guy that knows a guy they end up connecting with who is on the bad side of town, and he is like their Mr. Motherfucker in this movie. It really is reminiscent of God. I can't even think of what the name of that movie was back in the day.
Not like, because there was one movie on.
Something
Actually,
bosses.
you say what now? Hor-
Something bosses.
horrible
Horrible
bosses?
boss.
Horrible bosses?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, but it's like horrible bosses, but instead of them trying to kill each other's bosses, they're trying to rob a bank. And they find it. I call
And
him
the
Mr. Motherfucker. They find their own motherfucker Jones, and he is training them to rob the bank for a cut of the bank money. And they only plan to take the bank for as much as they all would have gotten in their pensions. So it's a ridiculous film. It's just silly. Like
I
the
mean, but when you
first
saw
practice hype is
when,
in the trailer, and it's robbing a grocery store, and that's where Kenan Thompson's character comes into play because he's like the manager of the grocery store, watching them struggle on tape to rob it. It's that scene is the grocery store robbery scene is fucking hilarious because Michael Caine and Morgan Freeman don't give a fuck. They are just stealing everything. And when they go back and watch the videotape and you see how ridiculous they look walking through the store with shit blatantly stolen in their clothes, it's funny, man. Like you should have went to this one, Kriss. This shit was funny.
Yo, no, so here's the thing. I really wanted to go to this one, but I had a podcast to do that night, so I agreed to, so I couldn't go. But I actually wanted to go to this one because I'm
No,
like,
you gotta go to this shit. I was dying.
yo,
I was dying.
I might go this
Theater, bro.
weekend because that. I mean, it's just one of those things that it looks like a funny, silly, stupid movie, and I'm sometimes down for that. Like I was seeing you today complaining about critics being, too uptight about this with the reviews, but like for a movie like this, how can you be uptight? Like it seemed like everything you're saying to me right now sounds like what it was.
It delivered on exactly what it promised to give you. A silly, warm-hearted film that is goofy and clunky and all over the place and involves three of our favorite elderly actors. Like we all love Michael Caine, Morgan Freeman, and newest addition Alan Arkin. Like Alan Arkin is definitely the uncle you want to hang out with and listen to him talk shit. And that's what he does in this movie. He's got a love interest in this movie. That shit is funny. There's the woman that plays not Aunt Margaret, but it's another woman. They go to her diner every morning. She's funny. I tell you who steals the screen every time he's on the screen, though, bro. Fucking Christopher Lloyd plays this delusional, just out of touch with all reality old person in the homes and in the bingo halls that they go to. Every scene with him is fucking hilarious.
But that sounds like what you would get with Christopher Lloyd. Like that sounds like perfect for him. Like if you couldn't get Christopher Lloyd for this, then you get John Malkovich for it. That's what it sounds like to me.
It was good. Like there's a scene where all the old people are being interrogated after the fucking robbery, and they go to interrogate Christopher Lloyd, and it is the biggest. This was a mistake moment ever on the cop's face when this is happening, but it is great. Matt Dillon is in it playing a douchebag cop.
What else? What else would he be in the movie playing?
Right, exactly. I like John Ortiz's character a whole lot. It's sad to watch him die in Kong so terrible. I think that was him in Kong that died so horribly.
Was he?
Yes, he was because I just went to his page and I looked at the picture.
Yeah, that was. I forget.
When
I
they
was
got
like, wait.
off by the birds.
Yeah. I was like, wait, did he die? I was like, oh, yeah, he did die and badly too. So
it was terrible. The birds just took him off. They were like, pick the weakest one, and he was it. And this movie is actually directed by Zach Braff, which I was not prepared. I'm not a huge fan of Zach Braff. Like, I don't like when he talks publicly. He gets on my nerves. He was the one that wanted to do a fucking Kickstarter for a sequel to a movie that they made 16 times what they paid to make it on. Like the profit was, I think it cost them like $2 million or something to make it, and they ended up making like 38 million off of it. It's like Garden State or something like that. And he was like, "Oh, we need money to do a Kickstarter for a sequel," and I was like, "No, you don't. You do not need money from a Kickstarter to do a sequel. As a matter of fact, you got $8 million distribution from a fucking studio for this. So why are you asking people to give you money to make a movie that made 16 times its worth?"
Yeah.
So I've not been a fan of him since then, since he was begging on Twitter.
Damn, man, you holding a grudge since 2004? Good God.
Yeah, I am. No. He tried to make a sequel like 2 or 3 years ago.
Oh, okay. I got you.
Yeah, he was all over Twitter like trying to get money for a sequel. And I was like, you don't get the fuck out of here. Your first film made more than enough money for y'all to have done a sequel. You ain't having a budget issue. Get the fuck out of here. That sequel actually didn't do well though. So there you go.
Well,
Mm. But he directed it. He did a great job with this. Like the quirky and the quirkiness and the kookiness, and it was a feel good comedy. You like these characters. You like all the characters except for Matt Dillon. Because he's the asshole cop, but every other character you like him. There's like even a cute little girl in it at one point that is involved in the plot. Like it's just a good movie, man. But these motherfuckers, their conversations and the shit that they do, that chase scene that you see in the trailer with them throwing flour in the air,
mm-hmm.
and that man, that scene is so long. It's so long and it's fucking funny, man. Our theater loved it.
Yeah,
Our theater was completely invested in this film. So these critics, man, they can get on, because if you can't go to a film like this and enjoy it,
I mean, I don't know what
I
you
don't
think.
know
I don't know what you think
what
you're going to go see. I mean, it's a 90-minute comedy. You look at the trailer. Like from what you're telling me right now, like I said, I wanted to go. I wanted to go to this screener. I just couldn't, scheduling issues. But I wanted to go to the screener because I'm like, yo, this sounds like something that I would actually watch and enjoy. It sounds pretty fun, right? And what you're saying to me is it's pretty fucking fun. I mean, it's not going to make a whole lot of money. It's not going to be one of those films that's going to be a blockbuster secret hit. I know that, but just this is a down weekend anyway. Nothing coming out. I think next weekend is when we have Fast Fate of the Furious. So that's going to, be big, but there's nothing coming out. If you've already seen Beauty and the Beast, if you've already seen Power Rangers, if you've already seen that, probably didn't go to see Ghost in the Shell. I don't think anybody did. But like, there's nothing else out right now. So yeah, this is one of those films. I think it's a perfect timing for it to come out. It's not going to make a lot of money or anything like that, but you need something to go out. You want to go out and have a good time, spend like want a quick 90-minute date. This sounds like that kind of movie, yo.
Bro, this is definitely once it's on Netflix, I'm probably gonna be watching this shit a whole lot because it's just funny. It is relaxing to be able to go into a theater sometimes, and like, not, I hate the term turn your brain off.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't, like, for this, you don't have to turn your brain off. It's just enjoyable. Like, fuck that. I'm turning my brain on for this because I want my brain to feel something happy for once, instead of having to pick apart all the nuances of the dramas of all of these films, or something so overly action packed that once I leave the theater, I have to go home and take a nap.
Right.
Because it just all the energy out of my eyes.
I'm just tired.
But this film is just fun. Like, me and Ashley went and got something to eat before we went to see this. It was like a little date, and she enjoyed this film a whole lot. Like, she was cracking up beside me, and she was like, she thought like little stuff they did was cute for old people. It is like the perfect film to take a girlfriend or your wife to go see. Like, this is, and you'll enjoy it. Like, I do not understand how people did not enjoy this movie. Yeah. It's like they walked in expecting some type of, because you see Michael Caine and Morgan Freeman, you expected to be, a Scorsese heist film.
But the trailer made it seem like it was the trailer. Nothing from the trailer made you think that. Should have made you think that. Like nothing from the trailer made you think. Should have made you think that. And if you did think that, you were an idiot.
No, exactly. And Kenan Thompson was funny in this shit too. Like, he was just funny. Like, they kept coming back to his character, Thompson. Thompson. He was funny as shit in this, man. Just like, y'all too old to be doing this. Like, funny. Like, what are y'all doing? His whole dialogue to them is funny. And even when he's talking to the cops and stuff later on, it's funny. It's not like a film you can really spoil or anything either, I guess you go into the film wondering, do they pull the heist off? Do they get away with it? You got to go see it, but that's really not the seller of the film. The seller of the film is these fools trying to prepare for a fucking heist at 80-something years old and shit.
Right.
Yeah, it's just not.
Oh, man. Yeah, I think I'm going to go check this out this weekend. So, what was I going to say? Out of 10, what would you give it?
It's an 8 out of 10, man. On the scale, it's an 8 out of 10.
Cool.
It would never be perfect, but for what it set out to do, it accomplished it. I just don't know what else. I wasn't asking for anything else from it.
Right.
So,
all right. There you have it. That is a review for Going in Style. Next week, I think we have Shit,
Fate.
there might be three movies. Cause we have Fate of the Furious. There's something else. I thought that maybe I didn't send you that. I'm doing Free Fire. I know you can't
Hmm.
make it.
I got a
Oh,
conflict next, so I can't.
we did get one
Yeah,
for what's that movie with the Promise? But I think that's the following week. That's the one with that
with them.
has Oscar Isaacs and Christian Bale in it. I'll send it
I
to
don't
you.
know what that one is.
Yeah, you
I
might
missed
check
the
that.
trailer for that one.
I might go to that one just because it looks like one of those too early in the. They probably were trying to make an Oscar film, but it's too early in the season for it. So, yeah, so I might do that one. We got a screener for that one, but yeah, the big one next week is obviously the Furious. So,
Yeah, Fate of the
we'll
Furious
be
or
there for
whatever it's
that.
called.
Yeah, so we're gonna be there for that. So, again, you find the rest of the reviews on mtrnetwork.net. Search for us on Twitter, iTunes, MTR Network. Again, thank you guys very much. And like I said before, we're not doing our panel at AwesomeCon this year, but we are still trying to do a live show. Might be getting the band back together for. It's not going to be a Four Loco show, but it's close. You guys are going to get one. So stay tuned. We'll have more information hopefully by the end of next week, and we can go from there. So again, folks, thank you very much for listening. Until next time, we're out of here. Peace.